Hey guys, welcome back to another video. In this video, I'm going to talk about the US getting downgraded by the Fitch. I'm sorry that this video couldn't come out sooner, but this is a whole new topic to me. But I am going to explain why the US got downgraded from AAA to AA+, and the effects that this would put on the US. So this is a new topic to me as well, so it was also really confusing for me in the beginning. Probably not the first time you guys heard of it, but it is for me. So I'm going to give the most simplest and easy explanation in my capability for somebody that is new to this topic. So I'll start by explaining to you what a downgrade feels like to a country. And just for your information, this is only the second time the US has ever been downgraded throughout the history of the country. And the first time was 2011. A country getting downgraded basically feels like you getting downgraded in your school. So let's just say you got straight A's throughout your studying years, every year and every exam, you got straight A's. Of course, there's many different measurements in terms of measuring a country, and it is, really complicated in that terms because there's many different other categories than just simple subjects that are judged by how many questions you got correct. But you can think of the concept that way. So basically, for some reason, even though you did get straight A's technically in your studies, the teachers now have decided that you're not a AAA student. You're a AA+ student, which is what the US became. So the US went from AAA to AA+. And now the teacher thinks of you the same. Although there's like double B and triple C students down there, downgrading from a AAA student to a AA+ student hurts. It hurts. So yes, that's how it technically means to be downgraded. And in this video, I'm going to tell you why the US got downgraded and what effects it has put on the US after it got downgraded. So the first reason is because many people are starting to not believe in the US economy. Yes, that economy, the strongest economy in the world. There are a few reasons to why people don't believe in the US economy nowadays. And one of the major reasons is because of their debts. And yes, many people out there have mentioned this before, and I have mentioned this before, but US have just way too much debts. $32 trillion and still counting. And the debts has really come to become a liability for the US. Yeah, they can print a lot of money. But still, how long more can they last? How much more debt ceilings do they have to increase? How much more money will they print until they explode? Basically, how long will it take until they actually need to default? Look, many people may think or speculate that, they could probably do it forever. But no, they can't. So as of now, where the US is at, it's like basically they are on a decline. But if they say they will default, they'll fall straight to the ground. Yeah, so it's that bad. But why can't they last forever? Well, they cannot last forever because the more they print the US dollars, the more inflation will spike. And the more they print the US dollars, the lesser they value. And eventually, when they value less people want to use it as a reserve currency. And less people want to use it as a reserve currency, US will lose their title as one of the strongest reserve currencies in the world. And when they do that, they will lose a lot of power in the economy. They will lose a lot of advantages they have over other countries because they do a lot of trades with them using US dollars. And because of that, they will lose a lot of things. Therefore, they cannot last forever. So now the question is, how long can they last? And that is exactly why the US is losing people's trust. It's slowly but surely. And the next reason is because of the government increasing the debt ceiling very last minute. Well, you might ask, how is this relevant? Maybe you're not asking that, but I did. Anyways, This is relevant because when they increased the debt ceiling so last minute, many people felt very disrespected. Because now they feel like, what? Are they reliable? They're increasing it so last minute. What if it's not trustworthy anymore? Actually, what if I don't get my money in time? A lot of doubts will come in, and I'm referring to people buying treasuries in the US and buying bonds in the US. And for a long time, US bonds, treasury bonds, has been one of the safest investments in the world. At least that's what they called up until now. But now with the increasing debts and all, and the last minute increase in debt ceilings, it makes people doubt whether it is the safest investment after all. Is it even safe anymore in the next 10 years or 5 years? Is it actually stable, or will the US default before that happens? Now you are put in a very conflicted situation between you don't know whether US is going to last or not. And that's what many people are also doubting about the US. And that was the second reason. And now to the third reason. The third reason is because of government deficit. So what is a government deficit? Most simplest form, their budget on their spending. And why is this relevant? Once again, this is relevant because of the debts they have. Yes. Now I will tell you about where the US get most of their income from. So the US actually earn most of their income from income tax, and which they earn about 4 trillion a year, not from income tax, but as an annual income. And in total is 4 trillion, right? And the debts is 32 trillion. That's horrible. And even if they take a slow step to reach a huge amount to pay off the debts, it will take a long time. But that's what US is unwilling to do. So they actually spend a lot of money in military, which I don't blame them, because it's what they're good at. That's what they're famous at. I mean, US has always been famous for military. What have they been doing for the past 50 years? But now that US has so much debts, they actually have to start diversifying their money from the military to paying debts. And right now, I don't even want to include the interest yet. And the worst part about this is that in 10 years' time, people speculated that in every single year, their debts will increase $1 or $2 trillion. And that's absolutely horrible. It means in 10 years' time, they could end up in 50 trillion debts. And that would be absolutely unpayable. There's no way they can pay 50 trillion debts. And I'll tell you what's even worse than that. What's even worse than that is that in 5-year time, people speculated that their interest alone that they have to pay that year is going to be $1 trillion. 1 trillion. And why is that so horrible? It will be because their income every year is only 4 trillion. That takes up 1/4 for interest only. And they haven't even used anything for yearly spendings for the country, inventory, or even military. And they already took off 1/4 of their money by paying interest and not even the actual debts. So yeah, basically the US is doomed. And also, you could say, why not just print more money to pay it off, right? Well, they can't, because of the point I used just now. The more they print, the more inflation comes. And the more they print, the more their money devalues as well. So they can't print to pay off all their debts. I mean, printing $32 trillion is also completely ridiculous. And that's why the Fitch downgraded the US. And honestly, I do not blame them, because this has been going on for the past 20 years. And that's also ridiculous for it to go on. I mean, you gotta give them some sort of like head start in the situation they're in. I'm pretty sure the US knows what situation they're in, but this just really clears out for normal people to see how much the US has fallen. And now I will finally talk about the effects that they will put on the US. So on the first day, the most obvious thing after the Fitch has downgraded the US is that the US stock market dropped by 7%. And this just goes to show how much people lose trust in the US economy. It's honestly quite shocking because in a year, the US economy should grow about 8% annually. And in one day, because the Fitch has downgraded the US, they went down by 7%. So you see how much of an impact that is, right? And the second effect on the US is that they will now have to pay more interest to their debts. Yeah, more interest to their debts. Is it not enough already? Apparently not, because now they have downgraded. So why do they have to increase their debts if they downgraded? It took me a while, but when I realized it, I guess it kind of makes sense. They have to increase the interest rates because they have to make it seem more tempting now. I mean, now that you have downgraded to like an AA plus and you're not a triple A anymore, why not just invest in the AAAs, like the triple A's? Why do I have to invest in your bonds, your treasuries, when I think that the triple A are safer and more reliable? Well, I'm gonna give you more interest. Oh, really? Okay, I'm gonna go for you. See, now they have to make it more tempting for them to invest in their treasuries and their bonds. And in exchange of making it more tempting, they have to pay more interest. As if 1 trillion per year in 5 years is not enough already, now they have to increase the number even higher. So yeah, basically the US is in an absolute downtrend, downwards, and I don't know how any other country could go even lower in an even faster rate. So in conclusion, the US being downgraded has taken a huge effect on the US stocks. And more than that, the US now has to pay even more interest in their treasuries and their bonds, which lead to even lesser progress in progressing the inventory and military and economy wise. So the country is dying. And last of all, the Fitch actually says that they think that there's a recession coming because of the interest rates increase and then there's inflation coming down. They think it will end up in a recession, which the US government naturally disagrees. But I think it's worth noting down. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video, learned something out of it, and if you did, like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.